If you didn't catch the news, breaking news was that FSD version 12, and I didn't say FSD beta, or should I have? I'll get into that in a second. FSD version 12 is officially out for Tesla owners in some places. Now the rollout's going to be slow. What's the big deal with FSD 12? Well, if you don't follow Tesla, you don't know this, but essentially FSD version 12 is a complete rewrite of the stack into neural nets and using AI in particular the entire way out, end-to-end neural net. Now, the significance of this is almost sort of a chat GPT moment internally for the Tesla software team. The biggest takeaway to me for version 12 is, number one, it was not supposed to be called beta. Elon specifically said version 12 will not be beta. Although last night, looking at the release notes, unfortunately, it still says beta. Now, who knows, maybe if that tag gets removed or if that's just a liability thing for now, who knows. But Elon said version 12 will not be a beta. So, until we hear clarification on that, that's one downside. But the iteration speed that we're going to see now, because everything is end-to-end neural net, and again, I'm not an engineer, but let me try to explain this in the best layman way possible. And if anyone in the comments wants to correct me, feel free to. Now, essentially, you can dump video data that Tesla already has, and from the end to the end, meaning from the start of the ride to the end of the ride, whether it's highway driving, city driving, whatever it might be, it can learn and get better. In fact, actually, one of the missing pieces of the FSD version 12 for so long has been the fact that everything's been coded in with C++, and really it's kind of rigid, right? You have certain aspects that might be AI or neural net based, and then certain aspects that you robotaxi software almost has to switch back into kind of having heuristics for. Anyways, the point being, and one aspect of this that I think is underrated, is what does this mean for Tesla's balance sheet? We know that they have. Let me just put myself in autopilot. I know we have. We talked about Tesla's balance sheet and how much FSD deferred revenue they have yet to recognize. And with FSD version 12 out, what does this mean for, not this earnings call coming up, although we might get some tidbits on that, but for next earnings, right? For next quarterly earnings. Now, is it a shock that we get this version 12 launched 1 or 2 days before earnings? I don't know if it's a complete surprise. I think it's kind of a bonus that we can talk about during earnings. Now, if you didn't also hear, Elon is in Poland. He's visiting some of the Holocaust museums in Auschwitz right now with Ben Shapiro. If he's in Poland, is he going to be around for earnings? Is kind of the question going on. And I'd actually love to ask you guys this question. Leave a comment down below. Do you think Elon will be at the Tesla earnings call coming up this Wednesday? Which, by the way, I'll be live streaming for. I won't be on the entire time, but I'll have the stream live on the channel with Farzad and company going on. Now, look, version 12 is exciting. We know that the timeline for version 12 was end of the year. Who cares? We're 3 weeks into the new year now. Timing is not that big of a deal. So far, the first few initial impressions of FSD version 12 have been very positive, albeit they've been from people that are generally optimistic about FSD. So, I'd love to see someone like, I'm not going to name names. I'm just going to put out just the thought that I'd love to see some people that aren't so bullish all the time on FSD give us the kind of lowdown on FSD version 12 and how close it might be to actual deployment of robotaxis. Folks, it's just a disgusting day here in Vancouver. The snow's melting on the ground with all the rain. I really don't see how the stock cares about FSD in the short term. That's one of the problems, right? Everyone says, look, if FSD is out, that's great. That's great news. Why doesn't Wall Street get it? I don't think Wall Street cares to price into earnings what it doesn't yet believe. I think as soon as we start to see some sort of rollout plan for FSD, whether it's Tesla pilot project in San Francisco with 40 cars that Tesla is monetizing after hours in kind of the Waymo Cruise model for a little bit, till we start to see something tangible, I think Wall Street is hard pressed into pricing in any sort of robotaxi news, and I think to be fair, it's going to be like that for the foreseeable future, unless we start to hear some updates from Elon about FSD. I also got a comment that I thought I'd address here about full self driving and Elon's compensation plan, and someone said maybe the reason why he's pushing so hard for a compensation plan right now, in particular, is because he thinks FSD is very, very close, and as soon as it is, the stock price will jump up considerably, and he doesn't want to miss out on those gains. And I think logically there is some sense to that, but it's not like FSD is imminent tomorrow in terms of rollout in the real world. It's not like we have any idea on how to charge these cars, who's going to clean them up, how the maintenance. It's not like we're even that far ahead yet into knowing the plan. But I think we're probably a lot closer than a lot of people think. Anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode with me of Tesla Talks in the car. Hit subscribe on your way out. Hit like. Again, leave me a comment down below as to your guesses, and I'll catch you.